Chad is set to become the first of Africa's current junta-led states to move to democratic rule with Monday's presidential vote. It will end a 3-year transition imposed after the sudden death of long-serving leader Idris Deby Itno while fighting rebels. But as his son and successor, Gen Mahamat Deby is one of the favorites to win, there is some skepticism about whether this will bring about change. Prime Minister Success Masra is among his 9 challengers and is seen as his biggest rival. The voting has been mostly peaceful, but one 65-year-old man was shot dead after voting in the southern city of Moundou, according to officials quoted by the AFP news agency. They said the unknown gunman had opened fire after being barred from voting because he didn't have an electoral card and had stormed a polling station, along with others, shooting indiscriminately. The local mayor said 4 people were arrested. There have also been some opposition reports of irregularities. As he cast his vote in the capital, N'Djamena, President Deby said he was proud to have fulfilled his promise to respect the deadline for elections that will signal a return to constitutional order. It's up to the Chadian people to vote massively and choose their president, he added. Mr. Masra wore a blue babou, or traditional gown, as he voted, reports the AFP news agency. All those who have shown they want massive change must go and vote in massive numbers peacefully, he said after voting. Lokura Sandaujane, 72, has little faith that the election will lead to any change but still went to vote. We don't have free and credible elections in Chad because we can't imagine that an electoral code would prevent representatives of political parties from having the result tally. It doesn't make sense. If there's a crisis tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised, he told the BBC. My wish is for there to be free and transparent elections so that the voice of the people would count. Governing a country with weapons isn't normal, but Ibrahim Musa Yusuf was more hopeful. 10 politicians who had been hoping to run, including 2 prominent figures, Naz Sawar Ibrahim Negri Kursami and Raki's Ahmed Salah, were excluded by the Constitutional Council because of irregularities. For example, Mr. Kursami was accused of forgery. But some have argued that the decision to bar certain people was politically motivated. Another potential opponent, Yaya Dillo, was killed by security forces in February while allegedly leading an attack on the National Security Agency in the capital, N'Djamena. Activists have called for a boycott of the election that they termed a ploy to lend a sheen of democratic legitimacy to the Deby dynasty. Many are still in exile following a deadly crackdown on opponents following protests in October 2022. Nevertheless, Chad's election is a milestone for countries in West and Central Africa that have fallen under military rule since a spate of coups began in 2020. It may serve as a template for juntas seeking to maintain political influence after first coming to power illegitimately. The oil-exporting country of nearly 18 million people has not had a free and fair transfer of power since independence from France in 1960. The votes are being conducted under very good conditions, because there was great sensitization. The outcome would be such that Chad will change. Idris Deby overthrew Hissène Habre in 1990 and remained in charge for the following 3 decades until his battlefield death in April 2021 at the age of 68. His son, now 40, took over in what opponents described as a constitutional coup and initially pledged to stay on as interim leader for just 18 months, a period that was later extended. He also said that he would not run for president. Gen Deby has tried to dismiss concerns that he is part of a dynasty. If I am elected, I will serve my 5-year term, and at the end of my term, it will be up to the people to judge me. As for a dynasty, our constitution is very clear. A candidate cannot serve more than 2 successive terms, he told the France 24 TV channel. Mr. Masra, who is also 40, was named prime minister by Gen Deby in January after a deal was brokered to mend political fractures from the October 2022 protests. The Economist has been accused by some of betraying the opposition, but he has dismissed rumors of a secret post-election power-sharing agreement with Gen Deby. He has urged Chadians to vote for him to end 6 decades of obscurity and darkness. People are desperate for change in Chad, but when it comes to the vote, there is a mixture of hope and despair. Hope that this vote, whoever wins, could spark a new era of young leadership in the country, but despair as over the past 3 decades, life has become tougher for many in the country. The results are expected to be released by May 21st, but a second round could be held in June if no candidate gains more than 50% of the vote in the first round.